After a day like today, this should be nothing but bourbon. It's coffee. I hate to disappoint, but there are a lot of people drinking tonight because, well, the Republicans can't pick a speaker. They're 3 votes in. They don't have a speaker. Kevin McCarthy, the Republican leader, he lost 3 votes in a row. On the first ballot, there was a vote for Jim Banks, congressman from Indiana. I like Jim Banks. Like, maybe Jim Banks is going to be some kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Compromise. That's it. He's going to be a compromise. Oh, no. Jim Jordan, he's getting the votes now. 20 votes, was it, on the third ballot? What exactly is going on? And is it all bad and terrible? The answer is, of course not. Everyone calm down. Welcome to the show presented by Americans for Prosperity, AmericansForProsperity.org. I have much to get to. And what I think it means, what I think Kevin McCarthy needs to do, what I think Republicans need to do, what I think might play out. And let me start with where I was on the radio shows. Where I was on the radio shows is Matt Gaetz, the congressman from Florida, can say all he wants. He didn't have a plan. He was just a no on McCarthy. Now, that's fine. You're allowed to be a no on McCarthy. I have no problem with Kevin McCarthy not being the Speaker of the House. There's no part of me that's like, my gosh, if we don't have Kevin McCarthy, we're all going to die. That's not it. That's not anywhere close to the reality of the situation. But when you fail to bring in the results as he did, as McConnell did, and as Ronna McDaniel did, they got to go. You got to get rid of all the mix. McDaniel, McCarthy, and McConnell. They all got to go. Now, by the way, someone's going to be like, did you just make an anti-Irish slur? No. MC, please, people. I'm not that guy. The Mick names, the things you have to explain in today's society. Goodness gracious. They didn't do the job. That's all there is. They did not bring the successes. Did McConnell put money into things? Absolutely he did, but the success wasn't there. You lost a seat. Well, that's because of Trump. Whoa. There may be many things you can pin on Donald Trump, but there are some things that you got to pin on those people who have leadership in the Senate. Same thing with leadership in the House and same thing with the leadership of the RNC. People have to take responsibility and culpability. And just like any football coach, if you don't do the job, you get replaced by Jeff Saturday. That's a Colts reference. Right? It's not bad. Right there. They're very bad. This that we're seeing from the Republican Party and not being able to determine a speaker, not being able to go for Kevin McCarthy, what is this telling us? For Matt Gaetz, I think it was much more performance art than anything else. He had no plan. He just wanted to be a guy who said no. Maybe he was trying to get himself some TV time. Maybe he was just trying to get himself a better deal because there's been a whole series of conversations about he was trying to get a better deal and get the gavel for this and be on this committee. Who was that coming from? Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's backing Kevin McCarthy. So it's a weird thing to argue that, this is about MAGA. Marjorie Taylor Greene, not MAGA? All right. I cannot handle that spin if it comes out where people are like, oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's always been a rhino. That is madness. This conversation happened over there on CNN, of all people, Jonah Goldberg.
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of my point about how this is much more about nihilism and performative disruption than anything else. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene is as MAGA as they come, and she's for Kevin McCarthy. And Lauren Boebert is a co-equal MAGA, and she's against them. And
they're like feuding now, though. They hate each other.
Yeah, which is fun to watch. But I agree with almost everything Chip Roy had to say about the problems with Congress. I think that we need to get back to regular order. We need to have committee chairs have power. We need to have real rules that allow legislating is supposed to be a process of discovery, and we don't have that anymore. Nancy Pelosi imposed policies. Paul Ryan did it. A lot of this comes from Newt Gingrich. I agree with all of that. The problem is that there's just this huge non sequitur between these complaints and why I am voting against Kevin McCarthy. Right. But I wouldn't Jim Jordan's not going to change any of this.
I don't know if Jim Jordan will change anything or not. And what Jonah Goldberg misses is that there is indeed anger with Kevin McCarthy. There is no faith that his leadership will actually engage actual leadership. There'll be no real investigation regarding Hunter Biden connections to Joe Biden connections to China connections to Ukraine. There'll really be no push to have a secure border, no fight with the Democratic Party. That's the fear. Don't deny that that's the fear. It's very, very real. But it's foolhardy to think that the people who are in favor of Kevin McCarthy aren't somehow good, decent people, but they're all rhinos is a ridiculous conversation. And far be it from me to say, oh, Dana Perino, I hate to disagree with you, or oh, Dana Perino, you're wrong. But oh, Dana Perino, I hate to disagree with you. And Dana Perino, you're wrong.
Well, 100 years ago, they went to 113 ballots.
Oh, God.
So this was the third.
Okay.
Could be a long night, folks. Just kidding. It could be days. I don't know what's going to happen. I think that because he's not able to gain any votes on the second, third, maybe even in the fourth ballot at this point, then you have to say that he's already given away a ton of things to this small group of holdout. It's like the opposite of the squad. They make the squad look positively reasonable in this situation. And a lot of this is just an ideological thing. It might be a personal thing. Like,
it could be an ideological thing, and it could be a personal thing. And both those things are real things. But Dana, the squad is not reasonable. The squad has never been reasonable. Communists are not reasonable. That is a stretch. That's hyperbole. Could we not? We have serious things to discuss, and I don't want that one being on the list. Stop it. Reasonable could very well be Byron Donalds, the congressman from Florida, who shocked everyone when he changed his vote.
Donalds. Jordan.
Now, is someone going to tell me that Representative Byron Donalds, or someone going to say to me that when he was supporting McCarthy, that he was a rhino, but now switching his vote to Jordan, he's MAGA? Leave that all to the side, because that's silliness. That's nonsense. That is garbage trash that we don't need any part of at all. I think Byron Donalds is saying, hey, I said I was going to vote for a guy, and I voted for a guy again. But you know what I've seen? They don't want him. So I am going to make a change because I'm understanding what's happening in the room, and what we need is leadership we can actually get behind, and they're not going to get behind Kevin McCarthy. It is, to me, maybe the most telling thing that has happened here, and possibly the most adult. When you realize that things aren't going to work out, you might have to ask yourself in a very pragmatic way, well, what is the reality in front of me? For Representative Donalds, he said the reality is we're not going to get this vote. Kevin McCarthy is not going to be the next speaker. And that's the end of it. I'm not bothered. And I don't even think it's a bad thing. People are talking about it's chaos. I think it was Representative Dingell who was on one of the cable networks, Democrat, saying we have to get past this chaos. Why? What chaos? They're debating and discussing who should be the leader of the House of Representatives, number 3 in the line of succession. I think that's something that might be worthy of a serious conversation, an important conversation. You know who agrees with me? Chip Roy.
So this is what the chamber looks like when we're actually debating and the bodies are in the chairs. How many times have we been down here giving speeches and there's not a soul in the chamber? Yet this is what it takes to get 435 people in the chamber and have an actual debate. The American people are watching, and that's a good thing. What we're doing is exercising our rights to vote and have a debate and have a discussion about the future of this country through the decision of choosing a speaker. This is not personal. It's not. This is about the future of the country. This is about the direction of the country. American people who are looking at this body and wondering why we can pass $1.7 trillion bills that are unpaid for. They can just slide in $45 billion for Ukraine but not pay for it. $40 billion for emergency spending and not pay for it. 10% increase in defense spending, 6% increase in non-defense spending and not pay for it. And not do a thing except put language in a bill that prohibits our ability to use the money to secure the border.
Chip Roy, I like the congressman from Texas because he makes a valid point. This is what it took. This is what it took to get people in a room and engage a conversation to figure out what it is that they want. He's not wrong about that. And Chip Roy then said he is nominating Jim Jordan to be the speaker and followed it up.
And people ask me, what do you want? I want the tools or I want the leadership to stop the swamp from running over the average American every single day. We can't keep doing this. I'm going to sit here until we figure out how to stop spending money we don't have. I don't want any more empty promises. I don't want any more, oh, don't worry, trust us, we'll do it. I want to know that we're going to be able to exercise our rights as a member of this body to stand up for the American people and actually fix this country. And it's not going to happen when we use our men and women in uniform in defense and wrap ourselves around that and then spend more money that we don't have, weakening that defense, weakening our country in the process. But that's what we just did. Ladies and gentlemen, I am asking for us to come together and figure out how to solve these problems. And to do that, I'm going to do what I did my very first act as a member of Congress or as a congressman-elect and nominate Jim Jordan for Speaker.
He nominates Jim Jordan. Over on Twitter, Mike, what's going on, my man? Says, so I'm going to switch my vote to someone who has 10 times the vote because the guy with 203 votes isn't going to get there, so I'm going to join the 20. What I think Mike is saying is, what's the point of someone like Representative Byron Donalds, or what's the point of Representative Chip Roy to push for somebody who doesn't have anywhere near the votes Kevin McCarthy has? Well, this is where the beginning of my conversation comes back into play. When you don't get a sizable group of people, a sizable election result, you are now at the whim of groups and cabals and cadres, all of it. Dear Lord, you want to know how the Knesset works? Well, now you damn well know. You have to put together these factions because you don't have enough votes to push them to the side. If you had picked up 32 seats, you wouldn't be having this conversation. But you didn't pick up 32 seats. You picked up whatever the number it is, and now you are. Now you are. And that's the way it is. It is very possible that McCarthy will never get past 203 votes. Is that the number? Well, I'm using your number, and I'll go with it for the sake of the conversation. No anger. There's no anger between us, Mike. I'm just saying that the reality has to come into play. Your argument is he's got 203, just give him the rest of the votes. And what the Republicans are saying is, no, they're not going to give him the votes. Now, what's your plan? What's your plan? I'll wait. I really should. I really should have bourbon for this. I really and truly should. At all times. Oh, it's too far away. You got to deal with this. You got to accept this. Now, I understand. Mike follows up by saying Jim Jordan has said he will not be speaker. If nominated, I will not run. If elected, I will not serve. Let's see what happens if he gets elected. Reality is much different when it's pressing right there. Let me say that this could all change tomorrow, and some people could acquiesce and give the vote to Kevin McCarthy. I'm not saying no. I'm not saying no at all. I saw a tweet from Kurt Schlichter, who's been on the show before. He's not willing to give up the speaker's gavel to a never-Trumper. Well, I think that's a strong point as well. And Kevin McCarthy, certainly not a never Trumper. Never Trumpers are weak and shallow people. They always have been and they always will be. But what does this mean for the Republican Party? I think that's a key question. I think the people, if you ask me if Matt Gaetz was just shilling for TV time and wanting to be a level of controversial and wanting because he has a personal animus towards McCarthy, I think that's absolutely positively true. And I think Lauren Boebert is the same way. And I think if McCarthy wins, they might find themselves on the short end of the stick on certain committees. McCarthy may give them committees anyway, because whatever, they'll do at least certain jobs that need to get done. I don't think this shows GOP chaos. Now, I would rather this had been worked out before you get to the vote. I would always rather it was worked out before you get to the vote, but it wasn't. Does this make the GOP look bad, or is this the kind of thing that should be happening in front of all of us? That's what I actually favor. I'm with Chip Roy on this one. This doesn't bother me. Do any of us really care if the speaker vote goes to 43 ballots? No, I don't care. Does it matter to me that the Democrats say, oh, look at those Republicans, all in disarray. We would rather have Hakeem Jeffries. They put up for Speaker of the House. Their minority leader, Hakeem Jeffries, is an election denier. This is their choice? Why isn't anybody laughing out loud about this craziness? This reality that we were told that election deniers are terrible, awful people destroying democracy. Hakeem Jeffries is an election denier. Who was the guy? Was it Aguilar who gave the speech and nominated Hakeem Jeffries? I think I'm right about this. I think he referred to Trump as so-called former President Trump. There was election denial in the speech to nominate the election denier Hakeem Jeffries. That's meta. That's who they are. I don't care. I don't care if they think that it's a problem. I don't think if they care if it's weird. I care that we get a speaker who will do the job. And somebody asked me, Freddie right here, can you explain what the speaker does? I think I can explain it poorly. So the Speaker of the House, who, by the way, does not have to be a member of Congress, and wait till you start seeing people nominate those outside of Congress. I could be nominated Speaker of the House. Trump could be nominated Speaker of the House. I don't think that that's coming, by the way. The Speaker sets the tone. The Speaker sets the rules. The Speaker sets the agenda. The Speaker decides committees. The Speaker can decide that some people aren't on committees anymore. The Speaker can decide whether or not there's an investigation, like there should be for Eric Swalwell and Adam Schiff, both California Democratic representatives. The Speaker has power to shape the agenda. And part of the Republican agenda is a reminder to the Democrats that you were abusive, you didn't care about the Constitution, you didn't give a damn about regular order. Well, now watch what happens. This goes back to, for example, on the Senate side, Harry Reid, who decided the nuclear option to get rid of the filibuster on certain nominations. And it was Mitch McConnell, Cocaine Mitch himself, who said, you will regret this. And sure enough, he did. But he was already out of the Senate at that time, and he got an airport named after him after he passed. So, I guess he got what he wanted. It's still going into Vegas and going into the Harry Reid airport. Oh, it's just an ugly, bad guy. A guy who said about Mitt Romney, they didn't pay his taxes in the well of the Senate. And then when was asked about it, said, don't ask me, ask Mitt Romney. And he apologized for it later. But in the meantime, when he was asked about an interview and making that up, lying, he goes, well, we won, didn't we? Harry Reid was a terrible guy. He might have been someone's friend. He might have been, someone's relative and good like that. But if you want to talk about the politics, disgusting, awful guy. I say it and I mean it. If it's not Kevin McCarthy, we're okay. There are some people who I would say absolutely not. Jim Jordan, I'm fine with. Jim Banks, I'm fine with. Chip Roy, I'm fine with. And I would be okay with Kevin McCarthy, even though he is nowhere near my first choice. because I think that what we've seen here is enough to shake him into a holy damn, I better. He gave away a lot to get this far in the thing. He gave away a lot, including the ability for 5 Republicans to call for a vote of no confidence, which I assume Matt Gaetz would do every single day. I mean, he gave up maybe way too much, and maybe that's a sign of weakness. But I don't think any of this back and forth is a sign of problem. I think that the people who push that are the kinds of people who just like to say, oh, Republicans in chaos. You want chaos? Take a look at the fact that the Democratic Party can't run Kamala Harris to replace Joe Biden because she's totally unlikable and completely incompetent. Never mind, they can't run Pete Buttigieg, even though they will, because he's totally incompetent and incapable when he's not on paternity leave. There's a lot of chaos out there. Enough chaos to spread around. I don't put this in that category. I don't. This is, well, I would have rather this was worked out already, but it's not. So let's go through the process. Let's see where it lands. Let's be engaging with our members of Congress about how we want them to vote. Has anybody called their congressperson to say, hey, vote for so-and-so, vote for McCarthy, or vote for Jordan, or vote for Banks? I keep saying Banks. I just happen to like Banks. Vote for whomever. Marjorie Taylor Greene for speaker. Jewish space lasers everywhere. Oh, that makes me so incredibly happy. Everyone's just got to calm down and not worry about what the left is calling chaos. Who cares what they say? Who cares what they say? What matters is that you get the right speaker and that they're excited about this. Well, they lost the House. It's weird when the losers are excited. One more thing, and some people are going to say this is personal, and it's not really, because I don't know Emerald Robinson at all. I saw this tweet from Emerald, who was formerly with Newsmax. Watching Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin show for Kevin McCarthy should be clarifying for a lot of people. It's not for me to defend Ben Shapiro or Mark Levin, but I have no idea what shilling means. I don't know what that means. If you were to say to me that Mark Levin, if he had an issue with Kevin McCarthy, wouldn't say so clearly and directly, with all due respect, Emerald, you're out of your head. You're out of your head. That is simply false. You may not want Kevin McCarthy. I'm not sure what the hell shilling means in this conversation. What exactly did they say that has you saying they're shilling? If they're saying we should vote for McCarthy because we need the unity and we need to move forward, and then we can do this and then we can do that, and you can hold them to this. And that's not shilling. That's their view of this pragmatically. I don't know what either one of them said. I do know that that's a weird statement. Should be clarifying for a lot of people. No. If they said something, it could be clarifying. You claiming shilling isn't clarifying for anyone. It's a valueless thing to put out there, but it's great if you want to get some quick likes on Twitter. Well, congratulations to you. You're a winner. Good on you. Very, very proud. Guys, I got to run. What? I keep looking. I've got a new monitor set up and it sucks. I gotta change the whole studio. And again, I gotta get the haircut. I don't know what that is going on right there. I appreciate you. Join me on Locals, TonyKatz.locals.com. Do that right away. And my thanks to the good people at Americans for Prosperity, AmericansForProsperity.org. Economic liberty, free speech. Do things I'm totally down with. It's funny. I don't agree with them on everything, and yet they sponsor this show because they believe in the open conversation. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. I'm a fan of yours. I appreciate you, and I will catch you tomorrow, everyone. Take care.